Hey guys, Fazzy back here, and in today's video we are going to be going over the final roster update overview. It's crazy that we're already on update 10, and this will be the last roster update I'll be putting out for NHL 24. Before we do get into everything, I just want to give a huge thank you to each and every one of you guys. Whether you've downloaded the roster, you've shared it, you've just watched the videos on the channel, anything like that. NHL 24 has just been an absolutely insane year, and I just wanted to give you guys all a huge thank you here at the start of the video. With that being said, let's jump into the roster update overview, and I'll show you guys what is coming to update 10. First up is the Utah team collection and created team updates. So I think if you guys have been following the channel here or following me on Twitter at all over the last little while, I have been working on a lot of different alternative Utah teams that you guys can substitute into your franchise modes. Obviously, in the last couple months, the Arizona Coyotes have announced that they will be becoming a team in Utah. Obviously, we don't have an official name just yet, but out of the 6 potential name options that are remaining, I have different team variations for 5 of them. This collection does consist of 8 different Utah teams. Originally it was going to be 6, but I ended up just keep adding on to that list, including the 2BC Yeti franchise. And then here you can see all the different changes that I have done when it comes to created teams. It wasn't just the Utah alternate teams. I more or less went into every created team on the roster and made sure it was just kind of up to par for being able to substitute into franchise mode. A lot of the teams I created at the start of the year were a little bit rushed just because I'm trying to get that big roster update out, and for whatever reason I just hadn't gone back and fixed them. So now a lot of the teams, more or less all of them I think now, should have basically more or less accurate jerseys as much as you can with this game. I know some of the older teams, the jersey templates aren't in the game, but I did my best with it. Spent a lot of time in the creation zone when it comes to created teams. And yeah, I just wanted to give you guys more options when it comes to franchise. Next up is the 2024 draft class overhaul plus newly created players. So again, just like most updates, this is always something that I try and look at and try and just do kind of a brief overview when it comes to the NHL draft class. But with this being the final update I'm going to be putting out this year, I really wanted to take it to the next level. So this involved going over tons and tons and tons of different projections of what's going to be happening in the NHL draft and going in and re-editing those players. A lot of the time the player more or less stayed the same. Some of the back-end stats were changed to make it a little bit more correct for each of those players. But you should be seeing a more accurate first round for sure. Obviously the later rounds it's kind of hard to get those projections to be 100% accurate. But I even looked back and I had some guys that are like medium 4 defensemen or whatever that are more or less going to be 3rd round picks, so that really doesn't add up. So I went and lowered their potential and raised some other guys that are projected to go in the 1st round. So hopefully the classes are more accurate now. And then outside of that, I was just busy creating a ton of different prospects that are later round projections. These are guys that can go from the 3rd round to the 7th round. Obviously, again, like I said, it is harder to get these guys more accurate in line of where they're supposed to be going in the draft, but nonetheless, they will actually be in the draft itself. Again, there was some guys that I definitely missed. They're not the biggest name prospects, but even a guy like Ilya Nabokov in the KHL, he is 20 years old, so he's a little bit of an over-ager when it comes to that, but he's putting up just outstanding numbers as a goalie, so you're going to see a lot more depth in the first-year NHL entry draft. And really, I want to say the top at least 150 draft picks should be real players, so wanted to improve on that quite a bit in this update. And then lastly, updated transactions and continued roster rating updates. And again, this is going to be something that you see in any roster update that I do put out, but just more or less going up and down cap friendly, adding in all the LCs, all the contract extensions. Unfortunately, this will probably be the last update that I can actually use cap-friendly for. Very, very unfortunate when it comes to that. But anyone who has signed a contract since the last roster update should be updated now. And I've gone through to make sure that the AI isn't cutting anyone too good. Again, there is some players that I do have to have them cut, but they're very fringe players, and I tried to limit it to that. And then when it came to NHL rosters, a small change but a big change at the same time. I ended up raising McDavid to a 96 overall, which for me, no player gets a better rating than McDavid in-game. So having him go up to a 96 overall means that I can raise a lot of the other superstars to ratings that they probably should have been at. So guys like Nathan MacKinnon, Nikita Kucherov, you're going to slot in at a 95 just underneath him. And then once again, that allows for guys like Panarin, Kaprizov, Pasternak I think is a 94, but still, same thing. They all can slot underneath that, and it just makes the ratings make a little bit more sense in my opinion. And that's not everything I did with the roster and the updates. I more or less went through every single player and just really evaluated if that overall was fair. I know since I added in the new rating system, although it makes sense and it's consistent, which was what I was trying to do, some of the overalls didn't come out exactly as I had hoped for. So I went back in and tried to edit that to make everything make a little bit more sense in game. And then the last thing that I did when it came to NHL player ratings was going over the poise stat. So again, if you guys have not seen this video, I put it out 3 weeks ago now, and it was testing the poise stat. So a 99 rated poise player put up in like an average of 107 points a season, where a 36 overall poise player put up something like 56 points. So I've tried to incorporate this into a way where it makes a little bit more sense in these games. Before I did it all by player type, but now I did it by the amount of points you have put up. And it is a sliding scale from 99 poise if you have 100 points to 75 poise if you put up anywhere from 1 to 19 points. And again, there is obviously a middle ground in there from all different ranges and all that stuff. And again, I don't really know how much of a difference it's going to have. From the testing that I have done, star players still don't perform amazingly, which there's not really too much we can do about that. But from personal experience, I find that everyone else more or less sims closer to real life than when they're all at a very high poise stat. So again, this was something I kind of just threw in, just kind of test in this year's game. And then when we get more results and kind of get a little bit more feedback on that, it's something I can incorporate into the roster build for next year. But that is all the changes and updates to NHL skater ratings. But that is basically everything that you guys can expect from my final roster update here in NHL 24. Again, my main goal here was to try and leave everything in the best possible state possible for you guys, and really just to do that so you guys can have fun with the game. I know it is obviously the summer and a lot less people are playing it, but still a decent audience out there that is playing these games and loves the NHL series and all that stuff, so wanted to leave everything in the best possible state for you guys here. And then just a quick update. When it comes to the roster for NHL 25, again, that is still obviously a couple of months away. We obviously don't even have a trailer for the game. That is a long ways out still, but I am working behind the scenes. I'm going through everything all again here when it comes to the created players, created teams, a new ratings guide, revamping it from what I did this year, and generally just trying to get stuff ready. I'll probably do future updates on my plans and all that stuff when it comes to NHL 25, so that'll be something I do over the course of the summer. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you all enjoy the final roster update, and I will see you all in the next one.